knows nobody.
Your superstars have off games.
Follow us on social media at Celtics Talk Weekly.
Welcome into Celtics Pregame Live, everybody. I'm your host, Justin Lowe. Alongside with me, I have Rob, I have Ian, and I have Seamus. All four of us, the gang, is here, ready and helping you guys get set all the way up until the tip. Celtics 7-7 coming into this one. The Hawks are 6-9 on a little 2-game winning streak they are on. The Celtics have won 5 of their last 7. It's going to be a showdown here tonight. Two teams who have each got off to a slow start, Rob, but towards March, April, May, and June, these two teams could be far from where they are in the standings right now.
For sure. If you look at Atlanta, they've had a tough start to the year. They've played a lot of good teams. They went on a five-game West road trip that consisted of the Jazz, the Suns, the Warriors, the Jazz again, and the Nuggets. They did not come out with a win at all. Some of the games were relatively close. However, the past 2 games, Atlanta's offensively looked good. They beat Milwaukee by 20 and came in against Orlando, got the job done there, beat them by 18. So, definitely a very, very winnable game against a team that you really can't take too lightly in Atlanta, I think.
And Seamus, the Celtics, as I just mentioned, are 5-2 in their last 7 games now. I'm not saying they're playing perfect basketball, but on a positive note, Celtics slowly starting to turn the corner here. Yes, your term building blocks, and let's just say these last 7 games have been some pretty damn positive building blocks.
Definitely, and specifically on the defensive end of the floor, that is the number one area in which the Celtics really lacked at last year, where they pretty much completely lost their identity. So when the Celtics lost their identity last year, it was because they were just completely hampered on the defensive end of the floor. And obviously the offensive issues came later. And even this season, the offensive issues continue to be a problem. But it's finally looking like this team now has an identity on the defensive end of the floor. And that's been the biggest key to this last, 7 games? We're 5-2. If we're not playing defense, our offense really isn't getting the job done at all this year. And it's really made a difference in where we are now and where we can go in the future.
And Ian, as we look down below, you take a look at the stats. The last 7 games, the Celtics are holding opponents to 95.2 points per game. Celtics are averaging 7.1 steals, 5 blocks, and holding their respective opponents to 16 turnovers a game. What have you noticed in the Celtics defense that has changed since that Chicago game?
Honestly, I feel like the biggest thing with the Celtics defense has just been their energy. And it feels like they have actually become committed to playing defense, and their identity seems to be being a defensive-minded team, which, I mean, as Celtics fans, we love that kind of team. We love a scrappy, team that's going to get it done on the defensive end. And it's been really good to see them improve this area. And it feels like in a somewhat short amount of time, because, I mean, sometimes it takes a while for teams to get to that. But this team seems to be able to pick it up right away, and it's really been fun to watch.
Totally. And I think what has amazed us over the last 5 games was kind of how the Celtics have responded to that Chicago game, right? Where that Chicago game seemed as if, in the moment that this was a turning for the worst, maybe. Everyone, Smart calling out Tatum, I know how to play basketball. Ime Udoka thrown up in the air. Celtics allowing 39-11 in the fourth quarter. But all of a sudden, since that team dinner, I don't know what kind of bread they threw at each other, but it's working, and it's working good. So if that needs to happen, hey, I'm all for it. But Hawk down. The Atlanta Hawks are struggling despite winners of their last 2 games. They lost the previous 6, as Rob had explained. They went on a big Western Conference road swing, which did not end in their favor. Rob, these guys could be missing some big ones tonight. Bogdanovich with an ankle injury, Herter with a hamstring injury, both are game time decision. I don't know if anything has changed at the moment, but DeAndre Hunter, who is a great young player for them, is sidelined for the next potential 8 weeks with the wrist surgery. Tonight, Celtics, Atlanta, very good on their home court. What are the Celtics going to have to go in there and do? And, hopefully we see this Hawks team continue to struggle, because it's, like I said, later on in the season, this will be a big anticipated matchup.
Well, this is definitely a tough matchup for Boston. I don't think it's an easy one. I think it's a very winnable one, but I wouldn't consider it easy. And the reason I say that is because if you look at this Hawks team, injured or not, they got a lot of depth. They have guys like Gallinari, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter. Obviously, he's hurt. Cam Reddish. Lou Williams, not the best. DeLon Wright. So they got a lot of guys that aren't necessarily their go-to guys, but can still get them points very, very well. So, I'm looking at the bench tonight, and I'm really looking for guys like Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, Aaron Nesmith, Grant Williams to step up and not only contribute on the defensive end, but let's get some offense going here tonight. We know how great this team can be defensively, so keep that up. But let's match this Hawks team offensively because, like I said, the past 2 games they've been pretty hot. Beating both teams by 18 and 20 points. Obviously both team Bucks kind of going through some injuries. In Magic, a team sitting outside the playoffs, probably not looking in anytime soon. So it's a weird one because it could go either way. I think it could be a game where we come in and completely blow them out, or I think it's a game where they come in and they blow us out because there's a chance that this Hawks team is starting to maybe turn that corner at those last 2 wins they got.
I hope at halftime we don't see a 72 to, I believe, 39 score as we saw last year in Atlanta. But that's a good point because, again, I think a big thing Ime Udoka has stressed was this so far this season is never take your opponent for granted. So tonight I think is perfect. But hold on a second, because the Boston Celtics, not to throw excuses out here, by the way, but the Boston Celtics are also missing a couple key guys tonight. Robert Williams and Jaylen Brown, Broderick Thomas is out as well. But Jaylen Brown with missing his 6th straight game with the hamstring injury. There was a potential, Ian, that he was going to show up in that Cleveland series. He has been practicing with the team. He says there's no pain. He's definitely feeling a lot better. Is this more, do you think this is at this point more of a precautionary thing? Get home, get as healthy as you can before you host the Lakers on Friday?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no way. I mean, unless Jaylen Brown is like still kind of injured and he's still dealing through that, and I mean, I think him and Ime have done a good job communicating, it feels like, because as much as you want him out there and to see him play, you don't want him out there unless he's 100%. Although having a 98% Jaylen Brown is good, having a 100% healthy Jaylen Brown is better. So I'm perfectly okay with Jaylen Brown sitting out games right now, and if he's comfortable with just waiting till coming back home, that's honestly perfectly fine with me. I want to see him at 100%.
And now, Seamus, today, Ime Udoka spoke to the media. Are you good? I don't know if you want me to ask you this.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm going to fight this. My camera is not up correct, but go ahead.
Okay. I didn't know if you saw you had a face. I didn't know if it was like, damn it. But Ime Udoka came out today, and Robert Williams, if you guys did not know, is out tonight with knee soreness. He suffered a knee injury, did not play the second half in the win against Cleveland on Monday. He is out tonight. Now, Ime Udoka says this is, quote, a short-term thing. How much do you believe that? Do you believe that this could be just a short-term thing? Like I said, kind of tagging along with Ian, maybe a get home and get as healthy as you can for the Lakers on Friday?
With both Robert Williams and Jaylen Brown, for one thing, I mean, I think it would be most logical to bring him back against Houston on Monday next week, because if you look at the games in front of us, obviously he's not playing tonight in Atlanta. Friday night's a pretty big game against the Lakers, I would say. It's always a big game against the Lakers when the Lakers come to town. That's a pretty high-stakes game to bring Jaylen Brown back into. You could argue the Oklahoma City game on Saturday, but, if you skip that game, theoretically, we should be able to handle a team like Oklahoma City on Saturday at home. You can bring them back against Houston at home on Monday, give them a couple of more days of rest. And Houston, they're 1-13 right now. They look completely dead in the water as well. That's another low-stakes game you can bring them back in. As for Robert Williams, knee soreness, not great, because we didn't really see a play last game where you would look at Rob and go, well, he went out because of that specific play. And usually, this has been the story with Rob is, can his body hold up? Can his legs hold up for an entire season consistently? And so far, he really hasn't done that at all in his career, and we're seeing it yet again. He went out with knee soreness the other night. Now he's missing another game. I don't know how long he's going to be out. Hopefully it's it's minimal, 1-2 games. But I don't feel optimistic about where Rob is because, quite honestly, this has been the question the entire time with him, and unfortunately, we're just seeing much of the same data from him yet again.
And as for Broderick Thomas, hopefully, I haven't looked into his injury too much, but hopefully he's, going to be able to go pretty soon because he's missing some significant time, not only in Boston as a two-way player, but also down in Maine where the Red Claws are. The Maine Celtics are off to a pretty terrific start. A lot better than the Celtics so far this season. But let's move on to something a little bit more positive because the key matchup tonight is going to be a fun one. Clint Capela versus Al Horford. Now, Al Horford facing his former team as well as Dennis Schroeder. But tonight, this matchup to me sticks out the most. Al Horford, 13, 8, and 2 blocks. Capela, double-double, 11, and a block, 1.2 blocks a game. Then you look at their field goal shooting as well. Yes, Al Horford's a little bit lower. You got to put it into perspective. He shoots behind the three-point arc. Capela right down low. But, Rob, how exciting is this matchup? Clint Capela and Al Horford. This could be a fun one down in the A.
For sure. Two underrated big men. I think both guys don't really get the respect they deserve, and I think it's going to be a great matchup, especially with Robert Williams not playing. Kind of all the responsibility falls onto Al Horford, all the dirty work, where he can kind of take plays off, rest 5-10 minutes a game, more than he really should be, because he's got Robert Williams out there to kind of do everything for him. But tonight, it's a big one. Al Horford against his former team, against Clint Capela, both great rebounders, have great shot blockers. You see Capela's averaging 11.6 rebounds a game on 56 shooting, very efficient, great at the pick and roll. I think it's going to be a great matchup for the Celtics. And honestly, you got to look at not only this matchup, but you got to look at John Collins. That's really where you see the effects of Robert Williams not playing, because that's, now you got Grant Williams over there. So, but as for this matchup, Al Horford, Clint Capela, I love it. I think Horford offensively can space the floor really well and draw Capela out, which is going to be, I think, a pain in his ass, and Capela won't want to do that. So I think it's a great matchup. I love Horford in this scenario. I think that he's the perfect guy to do the job against Capela tonight.
Now, Seamus, let me ask you this, because the Celtics are going a little bit small. Actually, they're forced to go a little bit smaller than they wanted to. Grant Williams will start tonight. Grant and Al Horford, known for stepping behind that three-point line. Does that cause any trouble between Capela and Collins? Because, at least in your eyes, because Al Horford and Grant Williams can stretch the floor terrifically. Outside of Clint Capela and as well as John Collins, they can't really stretch the floor like Horford and Williams can. Do the Celtics take advantage of that tonight?
I think this is one of those unique matchups. In the big matchup is going to be who can utilize their skills the best tonight. Because if you look at both, big lineups, you have Grant Williams and Al Horford who can stretch the floor, as you said. And then John Collins and Clint Capela, they're more pick and roll, rim running bigs in the front court. And it's whether or not we can space the floor well enough and hit enough shots and create enough actions off those opportunities, pick and pop opportunities, even pick and roll opportunities on our side, even though we don't have Robert Williams tonight. It's really about who can utilize their skills the best, and that's really going to determine who comes out on top, at least in the front court battle. I don't know if it's going to completely determine the game because, last year I would say Atlanta their shooting on the perimeter was the number one cause in us just completely collapsing them last year. So perimeter play and obviously front court play, it's really just going to be who can utilize their skills the best and give the most to their respective team.
Let's talk about the keys of the game, because you brought up something very good, Seamus, which I think Ian has to make the point on as well. Celtics have the ability to space out and open out the floor tonight. So, Ian, why don't you give us your key to the game? I feel like that your key to the game fits really well with that.
Yeah, so my key to the game is you have to make your wide open shots, and I would say this as a whole team, but I also want to specifically highlight Jason Tatum because he needs to start getting on a run. We've seen games here and there where he has really good performances with pretty good efficiency, and he's had high scoring games with really bad efficiency, and he's just had terrible games overall. So I feel like for him, the most important thing for him is to hit his open shots tonight. which will hopefully lead into the Lakers game and lead into more success this season.
Rob, how about your key to the game tonight?
My key to the game is really, really simple. It's to rebound the basketball. I mean, with no Robert Williams in the lineup, you're going a little bit smaller than you like. You know, Horford's going to be playing some heavier minutes. I don't know if we'll see Cantor tonight, but you got to rebound. You know, Robert Williams is a guy that's going to get you 10 to 15 rebounds a night now. I mean, that's the player he's proven to be. So, and I'm not only looking at Horford to rebound the ball, I'm looking at Tatum, I'm looking at Schroeder, I'm looking at Smart. You know, this is a team, they like to shoot the three ball. That's long rebounds. The responsibility falls to the guards to make sure that they're staying in the play, you know, hustling for those loose balls, because, you know, if you give Atlanta more than one shot of possession, things can get ugly real quick with a guy like Trae Young on the other side of the court.
And how about yourself, Seamus?
I think we just need to move on offense. This is really a broad key for the team and just a key moving forward in general. Maybe not just for tonight, but just for the season. In the Celtics, please move off ball. Can they please run more actions off screen, off ball? If you look at a team, let's compare the Celtics to the Golden State Warriors, who are undoubtedly the best team in the NBA right now, even without Klay Thompson. Last night, they destroyed the Nets because they never stopped moving on offense. That and their defensive presence is just ridiculous, and their activity on that end is another story. But the Golden State Warriors, their offense is so precise. They never stop moving, and there's so many off-ball actions that other teams just, if you're switching all the time, if you literally can't play certain styles of defense against the Warriors, say like a zone or even like a straight man-to-man, you're always switching. They're always putting a defender on the move. And the Celtics, you look at their offense, it's my turn, your turn, no one moves, everyone stands in the corner. That's not going to win in today's NBA further on down the line when we try to go and win in the playoffs, if we make it to the playoffs, because, you know, we're in the 9th spot right now. That has to be implemented into the offense at some point. Maybe that doesn't come tonight. Maybe it comes further on down the line, but eventually more off-ball movement, more cutting, more screens off ball. Everything for the Celtics offense cannot run off of isolation, as they are the second most isolating team in the NBA behind the Brooklyn Nets right now. So Celtics, move on offense, please.
I want to. My big key to the game tonight is you got to defend the perimeter. What did Seamus talk about just a few minutes ago? Last season, when the Celtics played these guys, Celtics lost the game strictly because they could not defend the perimeter. This year, the Celtics finally have that defensive ability. They're going to have to step up. Guys like Trae Young, guys like Kevin Huerter, Bogdanovich, if they do end up playing, even John Collins can step behind that three-point line and catch fire. The Boston Celtics, Lou Williams off the bench, just to keep naming names. Celtics have to defend the perimeter tonight against the Atlanta Hawks.
For sure.
Let's go to over-under bets. Why don't we go to over-under bets tonight? Because last time got interesting. It was a little embarrassing. We only got 1 out of 12. So hopefully we can do a little bit better than that tonight. Tonight, some simple ones. So Dennis Schroeder and Al Horford making their homecomings to their first NBA team. So we're going to go with a couple of their bets as well as the Tatum bet. Jason Tatum tonight, over under 24.5 points. He's averaging 23.5.
This is tough. Is he going to make shots tonight? Is he going to finally break out tonight in Atlanta?
I mean, we say this every game, but
no, it's game 15.
No Robert Williams, no Brown. Game against Atlanta. Atlanta's not the best defensive team this season. You see teams kind of casually walk to the gym and put up some good points. I don't necessarily know who's going to be on him. I would assume it would usually be is it Hunter? Who's out? Is it
Herter?
Herter. No.
Is Bogdanovich playing?
DeAndre Hunter's out. Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter. I would assume it's usually Hunter. I know Reddish is a good on-ball defender, good enough to guard Tatum. I'm not sure. I'm going to take the over on this one, but very hesitantly I'm going to take the over because, Seamus said, is this going to be a night where Jason Tatum is making his shots, and we've seen him miss wide open looks this year, so I'm going over.
Is Bogdanovich playing tonight? Is he?
Bogdanovich, I believe, and Herter are both active.
Okay, so that changes it a little bit, I guess, but I think this is going to be a high-paced game. Even if Tatum misses a million shots tonight, he might get over that 24.5 mark, I believe it was 24.5. Anyway, I'm going over tonight, whatever the mark is. I forgot already.
Yeah, I'm going over. I mean, I say this a lot too, but like, I mean, someone has to score the basketball, and unless Dennis Schroeder is going to drop 40 again, which would be cool to see, I still think I think Tatum's going to go over that.
So, Rob, you said over as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, I think you and the fans at home know exactly what I'm going for. The over streak continues. Right now with Jason Tatum going over. I did go 0-4 or 0-3 last time, but we're going to forget about that and focus on tonight. All right.
Once Justin let everyone go first, and once he heard everyone at the over, he was like, yes.
Well,
I know.
I was going to
Going
stay
over.
over anyway. All right, I'll go first on this one. Al Horford, over under 7.5 rebounds. He's averaging nearly 9, 8.8. I'm gonna take the over.
That's a shocking development.
Wait, what was it?
Al Horford, over under 7.5 rebounds. He's averaging 8.
That's an easy over. No,
Yeah.
Robert Williams in the lineup. I'll take the over on that. Also.
If he doesn't get over 7.5 rebounds tonight, the Boston Celtics got absolutely destroyed in the rebounding battle.
I know we would lose this rebounding battle like 40-15 or something if Al Horford doesn't get over 7.5. He has to.
All right.
It has to be an over. I'm going over.
Yep, I pretty much everything you guys just said. Al Horford, 7.5. He's almost a double-double machine on some nights. Atlanta, they're a really good rebounding team. If we're not rebounding with Al tonight, who are we rebounding with? I don't know. So
Plus, Scanner, because he's going to get more minutes.
We never doubt Big Al. We don't ever doubt Big Al in the over-unders. We can't. I know. Actually, I think he got us one wrong. But he's probably the only one to not this. Yes, it was.
It's a controversial.
How about the homecoming of another former Atlanta Hawk, Dennis Schroeder tonight? He's averaging 5.2 assists, over under 6.5 assists. Dennis Schroeder is known. He get 6.5 assists. He's known some nights, just like his scoring. He have 8 assists. Some nights he could have only 2.
I'm gonna go under.
yeah, it's so high. 6.5 for Schroeder. I mean,
under.
it could definitely happen where he goes over. Let me go pull up his game log.
I think that
so
slowly but surely Smart's starting to kind of come together as a better ball handler. And I think with a guy like Trae Young on the court, the ball is going to be in Marcus Smart's hands a lot if that's the matchup they see. I don't know because it might be a Schroeder Young matchup. But if that's the case, then I think he's going to hit the over. However, I don't know the matchup. I'm going to take the under. I think 6.5 is a little high in a system where he hasn't really been the primary distributor and more so a scorer.
That's a really good point because I was just going to mention, what have we noticed ever since Jaylen Brown is out? If Jason Tatum, I mean, you could still call him the first man. Dennis Schroeder has been the one taking the most shots, out of everybody. So, you got to put that in its perspective as well.
For sure.
Wait a minute.
Wait, Justin, does that mean you're going under?
Well, I think Seamus is going to say something. I think we interrupted.
No. Well, if we were statistically looking at this as my cat, okay, cool. If we statistically look at this right here, he hasn't hit that over specifically 6.5 since October 30th. So that was
Seamus is taking the over.
So that was the Wizards game where we lost in overtime. So he hit the over. He had 9 assists that game on October 30th. Since then, he has not hit the over. He's gone and gotten 6 twice, but that was also 4 games ago. He's had 3, 3, 3, and 4 in his last 4 games. I'm gonna have to go under. I'm gonna have to go under.
But way over.
I expected the over.
I'm also on. This is gonna shock a lot of people. I'm gonna take the under on this one as well. I know the streak is broken. I'm gonna take the under on this. I just feel like, hey, who knows? You gotta put it into perspective. Since Jaylen Brown's been out, Dennis Schroeder has been the guy. If not, Jason Tatum isn't, obviously already the guy. As well as, like Rob said, made a great point. Marcus Smart has stepped up in these last 7 games. I'd say ever since really Jaylen Brown went out, his distributor role has been phenomenal. So I'm gonna go under 6.5 tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I hate that we agreed on like every single question, but I'm going under with this one. 6.5 just seems really high for Dennis Schroeder. So
did we go?
I think it has
did
to be.
we have all the same exact answers?
We
Yeah,
did.
the
We
all.
did. We did.
Oh wait, no, you had the over on. Oh yeah, we did have all of them.
We did, which is okay
Yes.
because we pretty much did the same thing the other night as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
we got
you
1 to 12.
You got,
so.
Yeah, you got 1 to 12. So hopefully tonight is better than 1 and 12. But if not, then there's a real possibility we go 0 for 12 tonight.
Yeah.
So
But there's also a possibility we go 12 for 12.
Exactly.
there is
so,
also a possibility we go 12 for 12. So who knows? But just moments away from the tip-off between the Boston Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks. Final thoughts, final predictions. Rob, are we doing any parlays tonight? Are we taking any games?
So for all of my sports bettors out there, before this tip-off starts, go hammer the Celtics money line tonight. The Celtics are underdogs to plus 170, and that is completely ridiculous. The spread is +5 or -5 in favor of the Hawks. I see the Celtics covering the spread so easily. I have money down on the Celtics money line tonight. I think you guys should take it. Like I said, this could be bad luck, but I do not think the Celtics should be underdogs in this matchup at all. A 6-9 struggling Hawks team versus a Celtics team that are 5-2 in the last 7 games, playing the best defense in the league. I'm taking the Celtics all day over the Hawks.
Not
This is
gambling
another
advice.
form of guaranteeing.
Yeah, this is not a guarantee. I'm not guaranteeing the Celtics will win.
Not
Don't get me
gambling
wrong.
advice.
But wait, how do you not guarantee Celtics win?
Oh,
if you have
all right. You know
Celtics
what?
money
I'm
line?
guaranteeing the
Oh,
Celtics.
no.
Yeah, come
on.
Wait. Does this mean you guarantee a win as well, Seamus?
Oh, he said it, not me. I didn't. I'm
Oh.
not
You were pretty energetic right there. Are you
No,
just?
I'm saying if you're gonna say Celtics money line, guarantee the win.
I'm guaranteeing.
I mean, you kind of have to
Celtics win.
if you're betting the Celtics money line. I
I
feel like you have to
guarantee the
guarantee a win.
Celtics a win
So
tonight.
we have Rob going.
Bet
on the
responsibly,
parlays.
everybody.
We
Bet
have Rob.
responsibly.
I mean, yeah. Oh, definitely.
It's not a
bet
parlay. It's not a
responsibly.
parlay. It's just a straight bet.
Okay, so you're putting bets out on tonight's game.
Yeah.
Are we getting any guarantees from Seamus tonight? Whether it's a statistical matter, whether it's a win or a loss, whether who knows? Are we getting any guarantees tonight from Seamus?
Nope, because we're facing a 6-9 team tonight, and they should probably be way better
Nice.
than 6-9. Nice indeed.
Nice.
I've been
Very
wanting to make
nice.
that joke all day.
Very nice. Well, you do have the whiteboard, so you could still make that joke if you would like to. We got Rob betting and Seamus not guaranteed tonight, but Celtics and Hawks tipping off in just a few moments. We'll be right back here for post game live. But before we wrap up real quick, Rob, why don't we tell everybody about the ticket giveaway we're doing over on our account?
Yes, so over on the Celtics Talk Weekly Instagram account, we are doing a ticket giveaway. Game against the Pistons at home, March 11th. You get to sit 7 rows behind the basket on the Pistons side of the bench. So you're 7 rows back there. If you want to enter, you go follow us on Instagram. You go come back here, subscribe here. Comment done on the post, and then just DM me at rob.celticstalkweekly, that Instagram account. The proof, the instructions are in the description down below. I really think it's a great chance to, go get a free pair of Celtics tickets. I mean, you might as well just go do it. So I think it's a great chance to go win some Celtics tickets.
Join us.
The winner will be announced December 1st on that post-game show. I believe it's a game against the Sixers.
It is against the Sixers, which we will definitely be covering that game because that game is a huge game to cover. You said it best, Rob. Go into the giveaway if you have not. We're not counting the entries until December 1st. But until then, Celtics Hawks getting set to tip it off. Be right back here for post game live moments after the final buzzer. I'm Justin. That's Rob. That's Ian, and that's Seamus right there. Take care and peace out, guys.
I ain't taking notes from nobody.
Your superstars have off games.
Follow us on social media at Celtics Talk